Okay, so I'm going to start all over with that. Boy, I hate when it happens. Mr. Audio Man. Isn't that great? Here we go. Sorry. I'm going to start again. Happy Black Friday to everyone. Those of you that could read lips knew what I was saying, but I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Today we are having a Black Friday sale. As you probably imagined, the discount code for today through the weekend, BF sale, Black Friday sale, BFSALE, and it is 60% off my Beato book, YouTube, Instagram transcription bundle, which is a over 700 page PDF. And how much off the Beato, the ear training course, Aaron? 40% off my ear training course. Same discount code, BFSALE. If you want to improve your ear and be able to hear songs one time and know what the chord progressions are and how to play them, you can learn through my ear training course. Now, along those lines, today's live stream is actually going to talk about practice goals for 2021 and how you should organize these things. I talked about practicing last week. This is kind of a continuation on from that. One of the most difficult things is to actually not only organizing your practice time, what you do in the half hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 5 hours that you practice, but the next step is how do you set goals for the entire year? So here's the things that I want to talk about today. So one of the goals should be to work on your ear training every day. And to me, a great goal, for example, if you worked on my ear training course, the first 3 chapters, which are intervals, triads, and seventh chords. There is a pitch matching thing that's more of a basic the very, very basic module, but these are the 3 main first modules: intervals, triads, and seventh chords. Being able to master those in a year, master all the intervals within an octave. If I play, right, that is a perfect 5th interval. You don't have to know what the notes are. You don't have to know whether it's, F to C or anything like that. Or let's say, you should know, okay, well, let me see, that would be a minor 6th interval, right? These are the kind of things I'm talking about. That is a major 3rd interval. You should not only know them played melodically, but you should also know them. That is a minor 3rd descending interval. Okay, so you should learn your intervals your intervals ascending, meaning going up, descending, and both melodically, meaning played together, right? This is a melodic interval. This is a melodic interval when it's played like a melody, separated, and this is a harmonic interval when it's played as a harmony. Okay, that would be a perfect 4th right there. So it's F to B flat, as you can see on the screen. Mastering those. Then the next step would be to master all your triads, okay? That is a major triad. Being able to hear that and immediately going, oh, it's major. Sus4, Phrygian, Lydian, minor, sus2, sus4, augmented, diminished. If you can master all those instantly like that, and then the next step above that would be to learn things like added note chords, like major add 9, things like that. That would be the next level. If in 2021, if you only master all the triads and then all the seventh chords, major 7, dominant 7, right? Minor 7, minor major 7. If you can get those, it's not that many, and master those by ear, you will have a great ear. The next thing is to increase your musical theory knowledge. Okay, this is where my Beato book is helpful. So to me, the goals to be, depending on where you are, all these things are going to depend on where you are as a player. Your ear training goals may be, if you're already advanced, it may be that you have to differentiate between an augmented major 7th chord, a minor major 7, and a diminished major 7th chord. Okay, there's a whole chapter or there's a module just on those three, being able to identify the difference between those. And it's not easy. If I play, that's a minor major 7 chord, this is a diminished major 7, and this is an augmented major 7. Being able to tell the difference between those, even if you have a very advanced ear, is very difficult. Okay, so once again, if you refer to last week's lesson where I talked about how to break up your time, your practice time, if it's 30 minutes, you want to do 1/3 on these different things. Okay, so the second part is learning more about music theory. What is a goal for music theory for a year? I think a logical goal would be, number one, to memorize the circle of fifths. This is if you're a beginner. This is very doable. I always say you can learn all of music theory if you study every day. I mean, talking intense study, you can learn pretty much all of music theory in 2 years. 2 years, that's it. Definitely, no question about it. It involves a lot of memorization and a lot of practice, but you can learn all of music theory in 2 years. Okay, but what is a reasonable thing that you can learn in 2020 or 2021? You can learn and memorize the circle of fifths, meaning what notes are in what key or how many sharps and flats are there in every key, right? D major has 2 sharps, F sharp, C sharp. E flat major has 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat. E major has 4 sharps. B major has 5 sharps. D flat major has 5 flats. F major has 1 flat. G major has 1 sharp. You should be able to know these things and what notes are sharped or flatted, because that will tell you what the chords and what the notes are in every key. The second thing is your chord construction, meaning what are the chord, how do you build chords? How do you build a major chord, minor chord, diminished, augmented chord, right? Just simple things, a sus4 chord. Well, this goes back to ear training. They're completely intertwined. Ear training and music theory are exactly the same thing. The only difference is the ear training part is the step where you actually recognize what you're hearing. If I hear that chord, I say, oh, that's a sus4 chord for sure, right? Well, how do I know? Well, you have to know what a sus4 chord is. C, F, G. Okay, that would be C sus4. That's C major, C sus4. Well, so there's 2 components to this. Knowing that it's a suspended 4 chord, right? Knowing C, F, G is a sus4 chord, you have to know how it's built. And then you have to recognize the sound of it, okay? When I'm hearing chord progressions, whether it's listening to a John Coltrane song, a Joni Mitchell song, or like the Katy Perry song that I just did, or a Zed song, whatever. Being able to recognize what the flow of the chord progression is, meaning what the bass motion is, and what the quality of the chords are, whether it's major and minor, whether they're minor, whether the first chord, if you're talking about the song Clarity, the first chord is B flat minor 11. So you have to be able to recognize a minor 11 chord and how it's constructed, or what it sounds like, okay? This, to me, chord construction, ear training are the same thing. Then understanding diatonic chord progressions, meaning what chords in a key, let's say you take a major key, what chords are major, what chords are minor, what chord is diminished. Okay, if I'm in the key of C major, you have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major. Sounds pretty, right? I like that. 1 chord is major, the 4 chord is major, the 5 chord is major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and 7 is diminished. Okay? So those are called your diatonic chords, okay? Understanding what those chords are, and then the next level is what modes go with those chords. Modes and chords, diatonic chords, go together. The 1 chord in a key, if you're in the key of C, the 1 chord C major. Well, C Ionian goes with the 1 chord. Ionian is the first mode. It goes with the first chord in a major key. Dorian goes with the 2 chord. Phrygian goes with the 3 chord. Lydian goes with a 4 chord. Mixolydian with a 5. Aeolian with the 6, and Locrian with the 7th chord of the key, okay? If I'm in the key of G major, let me take the keyboard out of here. That G major right there, G major scale goes with the G major chord, or the one chord of the key. Okay, and that's the arpeggio that goes with that. Okay. Once again, in G major, the one chord's always major, 1, 4, and 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 is minor, 7 is diminished. It's always like that in major keys, okay? So if you remember that, and then you remember the pattern of modes, Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixed Lydian, Aeolian, Locrian, you can figure that out and memorize that. Those things always correspond. If I'm playing on the 4 chord in the key of G, which is C, you're going to play. That's C Lydian. Okay, so that is those are your modes that go with each diatonic chord. If you just learn that for a year, the circle of fifths, the modes, and the diatonic chords and how they relate, that would be a great, great thing to learn. Now, if you're beyond that, well, it's like, okay, well, what else can you do? Well, the next thing you can do is to learn your arpeggios for all these things, right? So I would take, let me give you the discount code again. The discount code for today's Black Friday sale is discount code is BF Sale, Black Friday Sale, BFSALE. 60% off my Beato book, YouTube, Instagram transcription bundle. That's over 700 pages. It's the lowest price you're ever going to see during the year, and 40% off our ear training course, my Beato ear training course. Same discount code, BFSALE. Okay? And that will teach you all of these things that you will need to know to practice for 2021. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced player, what I would say is you would take beyond your triads. Let's say I start with the root A, and I use, that would be an A major arpeggio. Then I would go A major 7. Or you could do, that would be A major 7. Then you do A dominant 7. Then A minor 7. Then A minor 7 flat 5. Oh, I played diminished. And then A diminished. And go through all those, right? So you master all those 7th chord arpeggios. That's the next thing. You master them off this 6th string, and then you master them off the 5th string. So D major 7, D7, D minor 7, D minor 7, flat 5. And you say, okay, well, what do you do with these things? Well, what you can do, if I have a C7 chord, you can make up lines. I just use this arpeggio. That would be a C7 arpeggio, right? It sounds cool, doesn't it? I like it. That's C7, C9. That's awesome. I just love that sound. That 9 sound is beautiful. That would be a 13 sound. Okay? So that's what you do with these arpeggios if you're more advanced. You start using them in your solos, okay? That was just a half diminished arpeggio, minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio that I played off the 3rd of a 7th chord. And you develop these really, really killer sounding lines. I'm combining the arpeggio with a scale. So I'm played up the arpeggio. and I came down the scale kind of in thirds. I probably wouldn't come down all thirds like that. I'd be... That's a Lydian flat 7 arpeggio or Mixolydian sharp 11 scale. So a Mixolydian scale where I sharp the 4th. Now, somebody said in here that they're 60 years old. John G said that. So I'm 58 and a half, and I am getting better every single day. It does not matter how old you are, you can improve. I have improved dramatically in the past couple years. Dramatically, no question about it. It's all about practice. I practiced for 2 hours yesterday, and my arm's killing me. Feels good. It's kind of hard to practice like this. I actually practice normally like that, but for these videos, so you guys can see the necks, I've learned, I said it last week, I've learned to play like this also. Anyways, music theory is just memorization. Music theory is a way to talk about things to people. If I say, hey, Aaron, play a C add 9 chord on that. And then Aaron's like, oh, okay. He knows what C add 9 is. He knows the C major chord, and the added 9 is the note D. Doesn't matter. It can be like, could be that or like that. Okay, it doesn't matter what octave is in. People refer to the second as the 9. 9 is the second. They're interchangeable. The 4th is the 11th. The 6th is the 13th. Okay. Anyways, okay. So depending on where you are, that will determine what your goals are for the year. Now, the third thing to do is to practice your instrument. That's kind of all that we're talking about as well. For a beginner, it might be learn all the modes in every key, okay? So that you can cover the neck in any scale. So if you're down here and you're going, so let's say I'm going to say I'm in G major. So I'm in G major. And let's say I want to go to E major. That's E major, right in the same position. Or, you know. So I went from G major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. I'm going back and forth between G major and E major, for example, in this position. I can go up to this position. So I'm in G major, E major, G major, E major, G major, okay? You got to know where all those notes are. So if you need to change keys, you can change like that. Okay, that's the thing. You want to be able to know the neck to where you can change keys at the drop of a hat. Okay, so learn all the modes in 12 keys. Learn all of your arpeggios. That's definitely doable off the 6th string and the 5th string. This is for any instrument too. If you're on piano, it's a little trickier because every one of your arpeggios is a different fingering. Every one of your scales is a different fingering. Basically, right? D major, A major, anything with one sharp is essentially the same finger, the same fingering. So there are scales that on the piano that are similar fingering wise. Okay, it depends on how many black notes are in them. So you can put them into groups, but essentially you have to learn each of these fingerings, and this is definitely doable in a year. And then one of the things I would say is to improve your speed, your technical speed. I would say that because you want to be able to improve your technical speed. And this is one of the things where I feel that people don't, as they get older or whatever, that they don't work at improving their speed, because this is dealing with coordination. Okay. I think you should be able to get your top speed, to improve by 12 BPMs. Let's say you play 16th notes at 120 at the beginning of 2021. The beginning of 2022, You should be able to do it at 132, play 16th notes at 132 BPMs. That to me is a realistic goal, improving them one BPM per month. Now, can you improve it faster than that? Absolutely, you can. There are certain technical things that you can do. We talked about some of them. There's economy picking, sweep picking, hybrid picking that will assist you in increasing your speed, because depending on what hand you're limited by, if you're limited by your right hand, economy picking or sweep picking or hybrid picking will improve it. If you're limited by your left hand, that's really where this daily practice with a metronome increasing those BPMs will happen. That's probably the most important thing right there. Okay, the right hand can really adapt, but most people think the right hand is the hardest thing. But your right hand can adapt way faster than the left hand. So you want to really work those muscles on the left hand. And there are very specific exercises to increase your speed that you want to do. And a lot of it can be how you're what type of fingerings you're doing. All these fingerings are in my Beato book. I have fingerings where I say at the note, behind the note, and above the note. If I play a scale at the note, that means that my hand position is basically where I start on the second finger, right? If I start on my pinky, if I start the scale here with my pinky, that would be behind the note, and above the note, that would be above the note. So if you learn your scales at the note, behind the note, and above the note, you'll be able to cover the neck much quicker. Certain things, if I go above the note, I'm playing typically 3 notes per string. If you play 3 notes per string, you can play pick, hammer, pick, hammer. Play a lot. You can use legato, and that can improve your speed too, but you're still limited, even if you're playing with legato, you're still limited with how fast the left hand can move, okay? So that's why this daily practice is really important. Discount code for Black Friday, RB, why do I keep doing that? BF sale, Black Friday sale, BFSALE, 60% off my Beato book, YouTube, Instagram transcription bundle. That's a 700-page PDF, 700-plus page. If you were waiting to get it, today's the time to get it. And then 40% off my Beato ear training. Like I said, this is the thing, that this ear training practice is a lifelong thing. It is a lifelong endeavor to keep improving your ear. You can get your ear to a certain level, but you have to maintain. You always have to maintain. Even people with perfect pitch, they lose their perfect pitch, typically around beginning in their 50s, and definitely by their 60s, it's gone. Anyone with perfect pitch, almost anyone with perfect pitch that I know has lost their perfect pitch. I interviewed Gary Burton, the famous Vibes player, who had surgery. He talks about it. It was a fascinating thing, and he lost his perfect pitch. He didn't realize it until 3 months later when he was on a gig with Chick Corea. They were playing at the Blue Note in New York, and they're warming up in a tune, and Gary's like, why are you playing this in D flat? And Chick's like, what are you talking about? I'm playing it in F. And Gary had perfect pitch, and he says, no, you're playing in D flat. And Chick's like, no, I'm playing in F. So Gary walks from the Vibes over to the piano, and Chick played the thing, and he said, wow. And he was stunned. He told me he just couldn't fathom losing his perfect pitch, okay? This is why interval training and relative pitch training is the most important thing, okay? Because it helps you visualize and audiate, meaning imagine what the intervals are, what the chords are that you're hearing, all these different things. Sing melodies in your head, execute them on your instrument. Hear a song, know what the chord progression is. These are the most important tools that a musician can have. It doesn't matter what kind of musician you are. I just lost my Aunt Penny 2 days ago, who was an incredibly important inspiration to me musically. She was one of the first people that I learned about music from. And she passed away 2 days ago. She was 79. And Aunt Penny was the first person that I realized could improvise. And I remember when I was a kid watching her play songs, and I said, and I was just learning how to read music. I said, Aunt Penny, you're not playing what's on the page, are you? She goes, oh no, I really never do unless it's a classical piece. I just interpret. I look at the chord progressions and I play the melody, and then I improvise the accompaniment. And I thought, what? How do you do that? She says, well, you have to know how chords are built. And my aunt, she went to music school, but she knew this because, you know, this was an important thing of that generation, was being able to play songs, take a melody and harmonize it. And this is kind of a lost art, but this is really about ear training too. Aunt Penny had a phenomenally good ear. Okay, she could hear those melodies. She knew the intervals and she knew the chord progressions. She knew how to voice lead things. She knew about line cliches. She knew about all different types of chord structures. And I'm going to be making a video on my Aunt Penny. I'm very devastated by this. It's been a very, very hard couple days here. But anyway, so my Aunt Penny was a huge fan of watching my channel, and I've had endless conversations about music with her. And so anyways, Rick, thank you so much for the super chat there. Really appreciate it. So these are my these are things that I think you guys should think about as goals for next year. And thank you so much for the condolences. I really appreciate that. These are really important things to set goals each year and try to reach them. You want to look in every 2 months or so to see, how am I progressing on this? How's my ear doing? Am I getting stuck on sixth intervals? Am I getting stuck on compound intervals? Maybe minor nines, I think, are major sevenths, right? Or tritones, I think, are major sevenths. Or major seconds and minor sevenths are confusing me. Whatever it might be. Or I've mastered that. Yeah, dominant 7 sus4 chords, I don't know. They sound kind of weird to me. I can't really, I can't tell. Or I can't tell a minor major 7 chord from an augmented major 7 chord. Things like that. Depending on your level, these are things that you want to keep improving on, and keep a journal always with your practice every day. All right? So decide on what those things are, plan out what you're going to do, and then execute it. I always used to say the only truth is action. And I tell my kids, the instruments don't play themselves, right? You gotta put in the work. BFSALE, 60% off my Beato book, YouTube, Instagram transcription bundle. It's a 700-page plus page PDF. My Beato ear training is 40% off today. These are both the biggest sales of the year. This is the time to grab it if you haven't already. Otherwise, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and you guys are having a great Thanksgiving weekend. Thank you so much for being here on today's stream, and we will be seeing, I got some new videos coming out at the beginning of the week. We'll see you later.